Great. So let's get started. So today we'll be discussing about data engineering. Okay. Now we know that we are into a world of data where everything is revolving with the data itself. Every country, every company wants to extract insights from the data, and they are generating huge amount of data also. Okay. Every company is generating. If you talk about Facebook, YouTube, or any kind of app which you are using, if you are making a registration in that, the company is generating a data for that. Okay, and every company wants to harness that value, like what kind of insights they can come up with. That is where we have a role as data science. That is where we have a role as a data science. So when you're using a power of data, analyze it, to use it for the better insights. Okay, to take better decisions, to let this business have a better decision for the growth of a business. And that is where we have a role. That is where we have a role, which is a subdomain of data science, which is a part of data science, which we call it as a data engineering. Now, what do we mean by data engineering? Now, data engineering is when you're trying to manage that kind of data. Because right now we are into a data world where we are generating terabytes of data every day, every hour. Okay, we are generating terabytes of data. We are generating very, very huge amount of data. And that data is also in the form of text, in the form of images, in the form of videos, in the form of content. So every kind of data is getting generated, right? The data which we are generating right away nowadays is text. Like if you're giving some kind of reviews, okay, any kind of reviews, ratings you're giving, everything is a data, right? Similarly, we have images. Wherever you're uploading your images, that is a image data that is generating. Every kind of user data or user slash numeric data. So these are all the kind of data we have. Videos, we are generating huge amount of video data. Okay. Moreover, we have a any other form of data such as PDF files, text files, flat files, or anything. Everything revolves around the data itself. And to manage that kind of data, that is where data engineers come into play. Okay, that is where because any person. So here are major three domains, which is data engineering, data science or scientist, let's call it to be, and data analyst. Okay, so we have this. Now, why I drawn it like this? Because data engineer is the person which is managing data, so that these person can use it, so that any data scientist or analyst can use that data. Okay, that is where we have the role of data engineers. And that is why data engineers are more important in comparison to other two people, because they are managing that huge amount of data which is coming in, so that it can be used for business insights. Okay, so that it can be used for the business insights. That is why we need to work with a data engineer, and that is why you need to become a data engineer, because demand for data science is increasing. But to give them that kind of data, because anyway data science or data analyst, both the people are going to use the both of them needs the data, right? And that is where the data engineers come into play. So I hope we know the value of this data engineers now. Now everyone would be knowing the data value of data engineers. So that is the value of data engineers and big data analysts. Like people saying as the jobs opportunities available as big data analyst, big data engineer, data engineer, data architects. So these are the job roles which you can apply. These are the possible job roles which you can apply while grasping this data engineering skill. That is the power of data engineers. That they are having these all possibilities to go for. Along with, they are providing the data which has been used by the data scientist and the analyst. And that is why they are even more important than data scientists and analysts. Because if they do not have a data, they cannot do anything. So that is why companies hire data engineer at even much higher scale. They hire engineers at even much higher scale. And the possible job salaries which you can expect after becoming a data engineer is going to be somewhere around 10 to 12 LPA. That is the average package going on around when you talk about data engineers. Now, coming back to the main important point, that what exactly the data engineer is doing, what or which technologies that data engineer is working with. Because now we know that data engineer is the one who is managing the data. The main job responsibility for the data engineer is to manage the data. But the question comes is what exactly that person do or how is it using it? So when we talk about data engineer, when we talk about data engineers, they are working with technologies such as Python, or you're going to get the skills as Python, SQL, data warehousing, data warehouse concepts. Then you're going to get the skills as MongoDB, which is a database. Then you'll learn about Linux or command line prompt, PySpark, Kafka. So these are all the big data technologies. Just PySpark, Kafka, and Azure. Now, Azure is a cloud service. So these are all the technologies which we are going to work with while working with the data engineering. One more is high. So these are all the technologies which we are going to work, which we are going to learn. And as a data engineer, these are the technologies which you will be interacting with as a data engineer to enter into this domain. These are the technologies which we're going to use. Now, Python is a coding language. It's a coding language. Again, data language, analytics, database or data storage, file management. Again, better or advanced version of SQL only. So Hive is just a better version of SQL only. Azure is the cloud service. Now in data engineer, along with Azure, we do work with AWS or Google Cloud, GCP. But in this course, we are going to work with the Azure services. Then we have Kafka, which is streaming platform, streaming, and then PySpark to do the data processing. So when you're entering into the bigger data, when you're handling and working with the bigger data, that's when you use the PySpark as a data processing unit, which is able to process data at much better and higher pace. So that is the benefits, that is the tools and technology we are going to deliver to you in this particular course for this data engineering part. These are the tools and technologies you're going to work with while working on a data engineering. Okay. Any question, query, doubts up to this part? If anyone have,
So what specific service you will be teaching in Azure?
in Azure, we'll be discussing about data, like the platform related to data engineering only, which includes, like if I let me just tell you, in this part, we'll be talking about in Azure, we'll be talking about Azure Synapses, Cloud Service, Databricks, um, how will you say here? Cloud service or cloud storage. So let's keep it as cloud storage only. Because cloud service is a cloud service. Synapses, stream.
Azure SQL?
That's not Azure SQL. We go with the PySpark or the Spark SQL. That is what we're going to learn in the part of Databricks only. If you talk about the perspective of the Azure part, that is the major technologies. We do have some more technologies also, which we're going to link to the same. So that is a major part we are going to cover up. So along with that, we do have few more services because Databricks Synapses is like the complete part. Okay, one more, yeah, Data Factory. That is what I was trying to recall. So these are all services which you need as a data storage, then analytics, then going with data provider, and then data manipulation. So these are all the services we are going to focus majorly on in the case of Azure.
So is there any specific reason you pick Azure versus AWS and GCP? Is it because
Comparative to like okay, that's uh, going with a specific reason. So though obviously they all have similar services. If you talk about the AWS service, then you have Athena, then Athena you have S3 buckets, you have similarly to Synapses you have the QuickSight, and for each and every service you have the similar parallel method processing available. But when we talk about Azure, why we are going for specific Azure, that Azure is having higher uh, requirements compared like in the field of jobs, Azure is getting more more required by the companies comparative to AWS and GCP. That's why we are going for Azure. We will be giving you some briefing of AWS and GCP as well because we are just different providers, but the tools and technologies are almost the similar with each and every case. AWS is the one which came the very first. That's why AWS is also used very highly in the case of DevOps or the like basic development part as well. There also, if you talk about AWS is the niche. Like every company is working with AWS more specifically. But when we talk about the data science perspective or data field perspective, Azure is something with the like that's the major product which they have, which is Databricks, which is though it's also available in nowadays in AWS also similar product, but Databricks something which actually come up and made this Azure more useful or more easy to use with the perspective of data science or data field itself. That's why we are going for Azure. Along with that, we are do providing the basic briefing of AWS as well.
okay? Thank you.
Yeah,
Mm,
And
hello, Sahil. Quick question.
yeah,
yeah. Yes.
So out of this 3 months program, how much time we are going to provide completely on Spark? So as you have shown that we are considering Python, SQL, Hive, Azure, Kafka, all these things. But
Mhm.
what will be the majority part of this course? Because if you consider everything, then will not be focusing everything everywhere. Because out of this everything, a company will not be all the skills. Either we must be skilled in Spark or somehow any of the cloud will do. As you mentioned, Azure, GCP, AWS, all the same. So services are same. So that's
So
not important part.
Azure will also be a service part. So that's also a good question. So obviously we do need Python because if you know Python, you are able to work with PySpark. So that's like something a base. So when we'll focusing Python and SQL in the initial period because that's the base, that's the two tech which help us create the base to work with all the languages. Because if you talk about SQL along with Hive, because concept goes the same way in both of cases. Similarly, when we talk about PySpark, again, Spark is also having two cases. One is PySpark and another one is SQL, Spark SQL. Then again, it relates with the same. Okay. So basic coding or the language part we'll be learning in this section. Then we'll be going for data warehousing, which is more of a concept, which we'll be learning with the this cloud storage part. Then you have Hadoop. Okay, I didn't mention the Hadoop. Now Hadoop is again it's a data storage service which is used to grow the data lake. So that will be like smaller sections because they are just to use a storage space. So this MongoDB will be smaller section, Hadoop, Hive. Then talking about Kafka, it will take one or two less than a week, obviously. So, but major portion we are gonna practice more is about the PySpark and Sparks. I will not say PySpark. I'll say it to be Spark because that is the major one which we are gonna work on. Linux is smaller section because that's also a file management system. Basic commands is more than enough. So that is where we are gonna focus more towards. And the second service we're gonna focus is Azure. So these are two places where we're gonna focus the most: Sparks and Azure services, and keeping the other ones as Python and SQL. So they are obviously going to be important one. So we'll focus on them, and the rest of them will go with the flow only with the project itself.
Yeah,
Sahil,
exactly.
one
So
more question from my side. If I'm not good in Python, so
Mhm.
can I become a data engineer?
So obviously you can practice about the Python. If you're not good, that is fine. You need to have a basic understanding of writing the coding part. It's like if you like, we don't want or any data engineer don't want you to be having like a very hard level, high level coding skill, but you need to have some basics so that you're easy to able to write up some code if required. So we'll do that much of practice, and we'll be giving some day-to-day work as well so that you can practice at home and at your end as well. So don't worry about that, you'll get it.
I'm sorry, hi.
Sahil, one question from
Yes.
my side. Has a DBA, I am DBA part. Okay, it is good for to change the part from DBA to developer because I am assured my question is regarding database administration and server side configuration.
So I was saying you want to know that DBA to data engineer. You are like looking for this answer, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so it will be easy for you to shift because DBA, we know that okay, DBA is obviously a very good domain, and we do need every company for this. If you talk about the software developer or any data management place, so everywhere we do need DBA people. Okay, to manage the data in the databases. But because the data is increasing, so that analytics part, because if you work on it, you know about this very well, that you're working in DB and that's connected to the transactional data that is covering with the transactional data. And if you put on analytics again on top of it, it will put a lot of pressure onto that DBA part. That DevOps we need to come to handle that kind of queries, that kind of data management or traffic. So that becomes complex, and that is where you're just improving on your skills by learning new add-on technologies such as data warehouse and the Hadoop part. I didn't written it. Yeah, here it is. So by these, you're able to analyze, improve your skills much better for your profile also. Like it will be much better for you because you know about SQL already. Hive will be very easy for you. Spark SQL is going to be very easy for you. Understanding MongoDB will be easy for you. So like most of the things will be easy. And just along with the add-on part of Python, then Hadoop data warehouse, it will be an add-on skill you will be having as an upgrade for your skills.
Uh, okay. Hi. I have some quick questions. Okay. Regarding this, are we learning only the concepts, or we are going with a deeper project of
Yeah,
analysis?
definitely. We'll be doing the projects. There's no meaning to learn about the theory part. You can watch it on YouTube. There's no sense if I just teach you theory. So we'll definitely be working on project also, and we'll do the
In depth,
practical
right?
more. That will be more practical oriented sessions.
Okay. And one more thing is that are we doing anything on premises? I have SSIS and SSRS, so we are trying to migrate them to Azure cloud. We are doing anything practice on that?
Not that kind of thing. We'll not do, but no issue. We can try to create some kind of scenario where we can discuss on that thing.
Yeah, because because most of the things right now in data engineering they're trying to move from on premises to cloud. Okay, so we
Definitely.
definitely need that. That will be an add-on point in our CVs.
Yeah,
So
understood. So yes,
yeah.
we can have this kind of project. I'll try to keep this because uh, we will be doing like at least 2 3 projects for sure.
Okay.
So we'll try to do one project in this kind of case, okay, so that where people can learn that how I migrated a database, a regular database, to a cloud services. That would be a good one. So we can do that kind of project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Any other
And
questions? Yes.
and we are trying to do multiple types of file types, right? I mean that CSV or
Yeah,
XML,
yeah, definitely.
JSON.
That is a
Yeah,
part of this only. That to
yeah.
work with different filing system, different kind of file formats, and to
Mm-hmm.
analyze and how you can use it to transfer data and to different places. So definitely we'll work with different files only, not only toward the CSV only.
Are you covering any data warehouse like Snowflake?
Sorry, come again.
Are you covering Snowflake in this data engineering?
So Snowflake is not like a very big thing. Yeah, definitely if a company requires it, so that's a separate part. But yes, Snowflake is like a smaller section. We'll
Okay,
do it. It's like one section, one session only. So we can cover it easily, no issue.
okay.
It's just a schema creating tool.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I've just joined this meeting lately. I want to know the big difference between data engineer and database administrator.
Sure. So data engineer. So starting with the database administrator first. So database administrator is like which used to manage the transactional data. The main role was to manage the data which is coming on from APIs and which they have to send to the apps or websites as well, right? So that is the main purpose, and who can have access of it and who cannot have access, and like they're managing the data in a database, right? That was the main role for them. But when we talk about data engineers, now the main purpose of data engineer is to use the data which is available in a database. So obviously we have a DB over there available. So let me just give you a better demonstration. This will give you better understanding. If I Just give me a moment. Yeah. So database is something like, so suppose you have multiple databases available. Now you are doing as a DBA, you are managing a SQL based database, non-SQL database, a log file system. There's storage space for flat files. Okay, so multiple things you are managing as a DBA, and all of them are connected to a online transactions. Okay, but a data engineer will be something who will be managing this data, will be getting this data into a either into a data warehouse or into a Hadoop system or a data lake. You can call it to be a data lake. So you're as a data engineer will be managing this particular section. That you're getting this data, you're extracting a data from different data sources of a company, you're extracting data from different data sources and collecting it into a data warehouse or data lake so that any person who wants to do the analytics or machine learning, analytics or AI, whoever wants to apply these things, for them, this transactions will not create any issue. So they can work on these things individually. So that will not affect the operations of the actual working company, and they're able to use the data for their management or for their analytics purpose. So that is the role of data engineer, to provide data in much more cleaner, transformed, and much subject-oriented data so that it can be efficiently used by analytics or the AI team. Or sometimes they also do that analytics part, because with the help of PySpark or the Spark skill, you are having like ML lab library where you can apply the machine learning part itself from the data engineering perspective. And while we are working with Azure services, so we do have synapses to analyze the data on its own in the Azure services, like the Power BI. So you can do the analytics and AI part on a smaller section at your end also, because sometimes companies do not have that much big budget, like if you're going with tier 3 or tier 2 company, they tend to have a data engineer who can manage both the things. That's why we're giving you the analytics skill as well, so that you can do the analytics on your own. You don't need to have like individual skills. Obviously, you can master any one of them, but from the perspective of jobs, we are giving you both the skills along with this course.
Okay, thank you. When does this course gonna start? What is the length of this program?
Sorry, come again.
I said, what is the length of this program? You're gonna take about
It's a
6 months, 8?
it's a 3-month course, and syllabus is already been shared in the chat by Harish, so you can go through it. It's a detailed syllabus already available.
And
So we have started this training from today. This is the first lecture, and tomorrow is our demo also. So you can join tomorrow also. So we have started admission process also. We have done with 10 admissions. We only remaining 5 admissions in the batch.
so are we going to have classes daily on a daily basis, or we'll have it over the weekends?
It will be a daily basis classes. Like regularly, the classes will be happening for 3 months.
Okay,
On
and
weekdays.
what would be the timings of the class? I mean, like I'm in US, so what would be the timing?
So in India, it will be 7 to 8 a.m. And according to you, it will be most likely in evening as per US timing. You can change it with IST basis. So whichever region you are staying in US, so based on that, you can just convert it. But it's most likely to be for you, it's gonna be evenings,
Okay.
night
Okay.
or evening.
And regarding hands-on, are you going to provide any, lab access for that, or we are going to do everything on cloud?
So as I mentioned you already, that we will be doing some projects, and obviously we do need labs. So we labs are available. Like you can access through the community version. We are not going for the paid version, but you can access it using the community version. Will help you with the same, and you can just definitely start with that. You can practice it over there itself.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a bit confused how this Hadoop is linked with this one. Where exactly the Hadoop will be there? In Databricks or something? I was not clear. I need to know.
Hadoop is a data lake. See, we have a data warehouse, and another technology we call it as a data lake. Now, the
Okay.
basic difference between both of them is in data warehouse, you perform a ETL. Basically, you're just using the data, you're extracting the data, transforming it. Now, transformation include cleaning it or restructuring it or doing the different schema or creating it in different schema, and then finally loading it into a data warehouse. That is what happened in the case of data warehouse. But when you even scale up your data, when you even start working on a more bigger data, that's when data lake come in, because transformation on a bigger data becomes very difficult on the go. Like while doing the process, while doing the extraction, perform that transformation becomes even more difficult. That's where we have a data lakes available. That is what we have as a technology. We call it as a Hadoop. Now there, what we do is we extract the data from different data sources, pass it into a data lake directly, and then we start the transformation process. So you can just throw anything into this data lake or into a Hadoop. You can just throw any file. Okay, whatever file you are coming with, it can be CSV file, it can be log files, it can be any images, videos, text, anything. You're just passing it into Hadoop. That's all. That is what we have as our data lake. Yes.
One question. When you said data warehouse, so data warehouse also be some sort of Oracle database or like Postgres, like what kind of data warehouse you are using here?
So again, data warehouse is also just a storage space. Okay, obviously it is also a storage space, but the difference between these database or like data warehouse and a regular SQL or these kind of is that the data warehouse also stores like the way of storing into data warehouse is different. Like in the case of SQL, if I just give you one example, suppose you're storing some customers data. Okay, you are storing some customer data, customers transaction, like the basic regular transaction into a SQL. So obviously it will be stored in a form of table, right? Where you'll be having like ID of transaction, name, account, and like all the details, right? as a bigger table, right? But how it gets different in the case of data warehouses, that the kind of purpose, the kind of use you are going to use, like that data, for whatever purpose you're going to use that data, in that particular structure we used to store it. Now we have a methods, we call it as a OLTP, OLAP, sorry, OLAP and fact dimension table. Now these are the methods which we used to store the data into a data warehouse. Fact dimension table and OLAP. Now these are techniques. Now how the technique help you is for the particular purpose of analytics or AI. That you whatever things you want to analyze onto that particular data, you first define that thing, and then based on that you create a data warehouse, so that when an analytics person using Power BI or any kind of Tableau, Power BI or QuickSight or any other technology, whichever he's going to use as an analytics purpose, whenever you connect a data into that, it will be much easy to process. Because if
Yeah,
you're just passing a table data into that, it is very difficult to process into that BI tool.
yeah, I completely understand that. But what platform this data warehouse will be? Is data warehouse is some other Oracle you are using, or like some
We'll be
Azure?
using this one, Azure
Also,
Data.
Azure.
Yeah,
Is Azure, right? Azure Data Warehouse.
yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
So
got it.
I have a question. How depth will you are going to data warehouse?
Sorry.
So how depth means how deep you are going to train us in data warehouse? See,
So see,
in SQL, now in SQL, as you said that we have a table, so we have a relation database over there. So between the
mhm,
tables, we have a relationship. But in data
exactly.
warehouse, it's new to us because OLTP, the terms you're saying, we know on flu, okay, but we don't know depth of it. So how fact table, how depth we are going, and how we are trying to do any projects more
Okay.
on that.
So let me give you a very good understanding for this particular question, and it will give you a good idea. So when we talk about these domains as data science, okay, data science and data engineering. Now the difference between the both of them, what I always say is, data science is more toward math oriented. Okay. But whereas data engineering is more towards technology oriented or practical oriented. So when we talk about OLAP and this fact dimension table, they are not something as a concept. Obviously, they are concept, but very easy to go with concept. But it's more towards the practical thing. The more we do, the more we understand. It's not something you have to go into the logical part of this. Obviously, you tend to create logics as you start doing it, but they are more uh, like you don't need to go into the deeper part, but you need to do more practice on it, because the kind of variety of data you start dealing with, the more better you get with creating that kind of schemas.
Fine, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
What else?
yes, sir. I have another question. What are the requirements if you want to be a data engineer? What the
So,
knowledge should I have before be a data engineer?
so the data engineer course which you have provided, the syllabus which you have provided is also an industrial one, because I generally do with the corporate trainings. I provide corporate trainings in Deloitte, HCL, uh, KPMG, and many other companies as well, Bajaj Finserv, and many other. So these are something which I've given this kind of syllabus which has been delivering to you. It's been inspired from these companies only. Okay, so the kind of requirements they have, based on that, we created this particular syllabus or the course outline itself.
Okay. Is there any option, because I'm in the US, and is there any option if I need to take these classes, but I don't my time doesn't match with yours? Is there any option you can give us um
So
to
we
join the
have a
class?
recording option also available. So we will record all the sessions. So you will get that recording also.
Got it, got it, got it.
Sahil sir, can you explain the benefits of the training?
Definitely. So benefits, as we have already discussed about the data engineering part, but the benefits of training also goes as the kind of skills which you need with the data engineering. You'll get everything, whichever is the most required skills. As I mentioned, it's all completely uh, oriented towards the actual industrial cases. Like the training program which we are delivering, which we are going to deliver to you, it's based on the industries only. So we have inspired this curriculum based on the industry requirement, the kind of training requirements they give to their employees. So that is what we are giving you over here as well. Along with that, we'll be doing projects because that will more project practical oriented sessions. Will not be doing more of theory thing. Like one session we have done the theory, but furthermore, we'll be more doing the practical sessions only because it's more of a tool oriented or tech oriented thing. And the more we practice, the more we'll able to understand how to use these technologies and the different kind of data we are going to deal with. That will even help us create the different kind of schemas and everything along with that process itself. And the more practical knowledge you are going to grab is more better. It is going to give you a shape to your career. So we'll be more focused on the practical orientation so that you can go when you go into the industries, you have a better edge of explaining whatever you have done in the industry and like completely industry like experience. So that is our main motive along with this course that we are going to provide you.
A quick question. I am a database architect and I want to, span my knowledge, increase my knowledge in the big data space also. So is this the right course for me?
Definitely. So these are all the technologies is purely based on the big data part. This all goes into the big data technology only. So when you talk about big data analytics, big data engineers, or big data architect or data engineer, so that all goes with the same curriculum. There's no difference at all.
Okay.
Quick question: is there will be placement support provided?
Okay. Harish, you can explain that one. Yes, definitely they are providing the placement assistance. So as
Yes, we are
Learnomate will be
providing
providing
placement assistance. We are also providing resume preparation. LinkedIn Naukri profile also we are providing.
Another question, like how advanced is this course? Is like, is it for completely beginners or like it is a mid-level or it a kind of a senior level? So are like all
so
three once we finish the course?
so once we are starting with this course, we are obviously going to start with the beginner level only. This course will be starting with a very base level. So even if someone have no knowledge at all, he can join this. But we'll be trying to keep it as beginner to intermediate. We'll not go into the advanced part. But that will more like because as from freshers, advanced practices will not be implemented by the freshers or the newly starting people. But we'll try to keep this beginner to intermediate level.
So do you have any follow-up advanced course for this?
For that, we don't have it right now, but
Okay.
coming forward, we can definitely have advanced level course as well. But don't worry, that's something we can do. I can provide you with some other resources along with it, like how you can improve your skill to the advanced level also. That's not an issue at all.
Thank you.
Sorry, one question. The labs, what we are doing is for intermediate level, or we are going extend as advanced level. So that's the thing I'm looking for.
No, we'll be starting from beginner to intermediate. I'll not say that it's going to be advanced session. We'll try to keep it as much as possible within the time frame, but for sure you'll be into the intermediate level. You'll you can have some skills along with the advanced part, but I'll not make that like as we'll be having time as students will be able to grab it. We can always go more and more and more, but we'll definitely be having intermediate level for sure. After that, if you have enough time, we'll definitely go for advanced as well. But I'll do help you with the additional resources and if the course is available. Otherwise, I'll definitely provide you with some additional resources where you can use it as a self-study thing for that advanced level also.
Yeah, fine.
I just have a comment here. Actually, my profile is completely onto AWS, and in this course, you're focusing more on Azure. Is it possible we can get hands-on experience with the services? I mean, whatever you are demonstrating in Azure, can we do the same thing in?
So as I mentioned you, that obviously along with Azure, we do have AWS and GCP. So obviously we
Yeah.
are not covering GCP at all, but for AWS, I'll be giving some method like for synapses, for cloud service, like which service you use in the AWS as well. So we will be giving some briefing along with the Azure services. Like, okay, in AWS, if you're doing, this is the service which you're going to use. And this is like a short brief. I'll not say like the complete detailed one, but a short brief will definitely be given you that, okay, that comparative service in Azure, you have this in the AWS as well. So from there, you can relate it And the practices which we were following, like if I talk about data warehouse, the concept as OLAP, fact dimension table, and these things, the practice concepts are the same in both of the services. It's just that the system is changing or the tool is changing, but the practice is implemented the same way. There's no change in that part. So you'll definitely be able to you can lock your AWS along with Azure. You can have like multiple things, and then in that case.
Do you have set of practices created for AWS also?
Not predefined I have, but you can definitely apply those same services. Like I do have one or two practices available, which is available, I have done as a practical part. So that
Hmm.
I can provide you individually. Like I'll just provide you as a free resource for everyone to practice on AWS part. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's not an issue.
You said timing is 7 to 8 India time, right? 7 to 8 p.m.
No, 7 to 8 a.m. morning.
7
So
to
if
8
it's
morning.
a.m. in the morning, IST.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
you're going with US time, it's mostly going to be evening only for you.
So it's a
But
weekday
I
or
think it will be very early in the morning for UK, right?
Sorry, come again?
For UK, it will be early morning, around 3 a.m., 4
Yeah,
a.m.
for UK, it's going to be early morning, definitely. So you can go through the recorded sessions, and for doubt support, you have a doubt support we are providing. You can have your doubts from there.
so the whole course will be taught by you or like multiple tutors? It's
Most likely, it will be taught by me only,
okay.
but we'll get you if there's any slight change or not. But most likely, the course will be delivered by me only.
It's only weekdays, right?
Sorry?
It's only Monday to Friday, right? Not
Yeah,
weekend.
exactly. Weekdays. Yeah.
I have a quick question. Is there gonna be like a certification to pass after the completion of this course?
Sorry, come again?
So at the end of this course, we're gonna take like a certification, or you need to pass a certification, something like that.
I guess certification will be provided to you. Harish, can you help me with
Yeah,
this?
after the completion of this course, if we're gonna take like a certification, a license, something like that.
Okay, for license, okay. So there are two things. One is the certification part, which demonstrates that you have a knowledge. One is license. Now, license is something which isn't provided by the service only. Like if you're going for Azure, so you have to get the Microsoft Data Engineering certificate, like the license part, if you want to get it authenticated. But we'll definitely provide you with certification that you have done this course and you have these domain knowledge available. So that kind of certificate will be provided by Learnomate. But if you're talking about from the like proper license, because in this one you don't need a license because that is being used for the cloud services. But if you do want to get authentication from the service, from that cloud service, for that you need to take exam from that service provider. Like if you talk about AWS or Azure or GCP, they take the exams for this. So for that you can give the exams for there, and there you can just get this thing, like the
Cool. Thank
proper
you.
certification from there. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you say data engineer role is to migrate data from different source to either data warehouse or Hadoop or data lake. But as you know, when you, for example, from DB side, we take data from table and schema and transfer to data warehouse. And also you say we put them in schema. So do you mean the schema that we are going to create in data warehouse, it will be the same format like table row and column, or what's the format of schema in data warehouse
Yes, so
or
that
data
okay,
lake?
in data warehouse also, that's also a part of rows and columns. But in that case, we are going into the like we are trying to structure the data, because if you talk about, suppose you have some kind of very unstructured kind of data you already have, and when you're migrating it, like obviously when you're migrating multiple different types sizes of table, multiple different types of data into a data warehouse, so every data form have a different structure, right? To make it more useful for an analytics purpose, that data needs to be structured. And that is what we are doing in the case of transformation part, that data coming from multiple sources, we're gathering all of it we're transforming it in multiple ways, like as I mentioned, two of the techniques. So we are using those kind of technique to structure it in such a way so that it can be merged. But yes, and then it is gonna be in the form of rows and columns only. Like if you're talking about the fact and dimension table. If you're talking from the perspective of fact dimension table, that is one of the case. So in that case, you will get a table in the form of rows and columns. And that is where we also call it as snowflake or star schemas or galaxy schema. So we have different kind of schemas which we use to create. But when we talk about OLAP, now that is a completely different types of concept. The data is arranged in very different order. So that is not something like in a row column format, but yeah, in the case of fact dimension, so yes, we tend to have data in a rows and column format only.
Hello, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mansi.
Sir, how many fee for this class?
For that, you can connect to the Harish. That's been managed by the Learnomate League.
And after this class, there is any job opportunity?
So we'll provide you. They will be providing you with the job assistance part as well. So you can just connect with them. There's a phone number available. You can directly call them. They'll help you with the same.
So one doubt, is any job related to web development?
So for web development, I have no idea. I'm into the data field only from past 5 years. But definitely, people are migrating. Like even small businesses are also migrating into the web development part. So there also you have a good scope.
Okay.
Yeah, Mansi, connect with me on my 77 number. We'll
Okay,
give you
okay.
the brief. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, done everyone. Any other questions if someone have? So that's all for today. Thank you everyone.